Alright guys, so today's video is on a product that I'm not gonna lie, has completely surprised me in a number of different ways. And that product is the Tribit FlyBuds C1. Now this is a pair of true wireless earbuds that retail for $70, but right now on Amazon there is a coupon code, so you can actually pick these up for only $60. And speaking of the price, that was the first surprise. Because through testing these, the one product I kept comparing them to were the AirPods Pro, and that product retails for $250. So to put that into perspective, you could pick up 4 pairs of the C1s to equal 1 pair of the AirPods Pro. And in my opinion, based off the specs of these and based off the sound, that is absolutely insane. Now, before we get into all the impressive stuff, I do want to start with the one thing I wasn't crazy about, and this isn't going to matter to a lot of people, but the packaging is very generic and very simple looking. And in my opinion, just because I opened so many products, I like the unboxing experience. I like the design of a product on the outside or something unique about it. And I'm sure they're just going for a minimalistic design, but to me, it doesn't grab my attention and it doesn't make me excited about getting into this product. But once I did, I was surprised at how much I actually like the design of these. Because if you're a fan of this channel, you know I'm not a huge fan of STEM style designs. Most of the earbuds just look kind of ridiculous hanging out of your ear. But there was something about the design of these that I really liked. It had this red mesh grill on the outside. I do like the fact that the stem is a shorter stem like the AirPods Pro. And I also like the kind of metallic finish that it had on the outside. It was just enough to make these stand out, but it wasn't over the top and flashy that it was just going to draw all kinds of attention. Now, the other things that are impressive about these are the specs. They are using Bluetooth 5.2, but they also have a Qualcomm 3040 chip, which in my experience usually means you're going to get some pretty decent performance and it's not going to affect your battery life. And that is definitely the case in here. We'll talk about the battery life in a second. Some other things that they do is it has aptX, AAC, and SBC playback with a low latency, which basically means that you can use these for all types of media and you don't have to worry about lag with movies or videos. The only kind of lag that I did experience was a slight lag when it came to gaming. So I do like the fact that you could just use these for everything and not really have to worry about the audio not syncing up with the lips or whatever that you're watching. Now, one thing that I couldn't find any information on, and I know this is important to a lot of you guys, is I couldn't find an IP rating for these, which basically means I'm not sure how water resistant or waterproof they are. So I'm sure that they would be fine against sweat and maybe some light rain, but this is definitely not one of those pairs that I would feel comfortable getting near dropping in water. Now, another thing that I did like about these is inside the box, they included 6 sets of ear tips. They're all silicone ear tips, but you're getting 3 set that have a soft material, where you're getting 3 that is a little bit firmer. Now, that's all going to come down to personal preference, but I am going to say, depending on which ear tip you use, it does have a slight effect on the sound itself. And as far as the charging cable that's in here, they've included a USB-C cable. And speaking of the charging cable, battery life is so impressive on these that I know that a lot of people are going to like this because it's going to get most people through a day with no issues. The battery life on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get 12 hours of use, where with the charging case, you're going to get around 50 hours total. So 12 hours is easily going to get people through a day, but if you do happen to pick them up and they are dead, it does have the fast charge feature where a 10-minute charge will get you an hour and a half worth of use. Now, moving over to checking out the case. The case is actually pretty generic looking, especially considering what the earbuds look like. It does have somewhat of a glossy feel to it, and I feel like it shows fingerprints pretty easily. But on the bottom, you can see the USB-C input for charging, and then around on the front, you have a pairing button, and then you also have 4 indicator lights. That way you can kind of see how much battery life is left on the case. Now moving over to checking out the earbuds, like I said, I already love the look of these, but I also love the fact that it uses button control. I really don't see that on the stem style earbuds. The buttons placed lower on the stem, it makes it very easy to do what you need to do, and I'm happy to say that you have control over everything. So you have your play, pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, you have volume control, all of it's right there on the stem, and all of it's very easy to do. Now, as far as you guys that like to use your earbuds individually, you'll be happy to know that you can use either the left or the right. And then as far as the microphones, this is another area where I think they did a really good job. Now, they do have the CVC technology. There are 4 mics total, which means there's 2 on each earbud. You have one that's trying to block out your surroundings, and the other one is trying to focus in on your voice. And I think they did a really good job with how well these pick up. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
All right, guys, so here is a mic test using the Flybud C1. Like I said, I think it does a very good job of picking up my voice. I noticed that it picked up details really nicely, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because honestly, in my opinion, I think this is the most important thing to look at when you're buying an audio product, because I think it's great that it has impressive features, but if it sounded like crap, it wouldn't be worth recommending. But luckily, this is easily one of the best sounding stem style earbuds that I've heard, and that's even, again, comparing them to the AirPods Pro, which I'm not saying is some of the best audio out there, but again, this is a $250 product that this $60 product is competing with. I mean, the only thing it doesn't have is the noise canceling and the instant connectivity with Apple devices. But the sound that these have are absolutely explosive. It is a dynamic sounding earbud, but it leans more towards the clarity and the detail of your mids and highs, where I feel like the bass still has plenty of impact. It did focus on keeping the bass pretty tight, and that's important because I listen to a lot of different genres, and I noticed that earbuds that don't have a tight bass can come in and destroy the mids and the highs, and these don't do that. They keep up, they're very quick. You still feel the impact of bass, but it easily just moves on to the next thing. It's not hitting that bass note and just kind of flowing over into your mids and highs to a point where you can't enjoy it, because the mids on these are very good. It's very detailed. Again, no matter what I was listening to, I always felt like the singer was right there in front of me. And then the clarity that the treble has is some of the best that I've heard. I personally just like when the treble has this nice sparkly shine to it without being too harsh. Now, I did notice if I listen to these at higher volumes, sometimes the treble can get a little harsh, but it's not anything bad. That just keeps it where you have this nice bright sound. And again, it just mixes very well with that punchy but very tight bass that these have. And then the other surprising thing was how open they sounded and how well I was able to tell where all the different instruments and sounds were coming from. Now, as great as I think all of that is, I do still have a couple of cons. One, I wish the case was a Qi wireless charging case. Again, in this price range, it's hard to kind of expect that when you're getting everything else. And then the only other complaint that I have is I don't know the IP rating. There's just no information on it. So if you're looking for a pair to use in the gym or use while working out, it's hard to recommend it for that because I'm not sure how protected these are against water. But outside of all of that, this is easily a pair that I would recommend to anybody looking at the AirPods Pro or just anybody looking for a pair of earbuds in general, because the battery life that you get is some of the best that I've seen. The performance overall is just incredible. And the fact that it's only $60, it just kind of shows that the market is very good for consumers. There's really good competition for the big names out there. And when you have companies putting out products like this, where the box might not grab your attention, but the product does, $60 is definitely worth checking out. And I think this is one of those pairs that's just easy to recommend to anyone. But guys, that's my video on the Tribits Flybud C1. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.